Hi children, I am well pleased to welcome you all once again to our social studies class. We are learning about the story of village Palumbo under economics part. In the last video, we discussed the four factors of production such as land, labor, physical capital and human capital. So in the last video, we discussed in detail about these four factors of production. And now today, in this video, we are going to learn some more important farming activities of village Palumbo. Okay, let us discuss. Farming in Palumbo. There in the village of Palumbo, land is practically it is fixed. Land is practically fixed. So it cannot be regenerated. It cannot be, land cannot be reproduced. It is fixed. Whichever land is present there, that is practically fixed. It cannot be changed. So in the village of Palumbo, nearly 75% of the population or people of Palumbo are dependent on farming for their livelihood. A vast majority of the people in the village of Palumbo depend upon agriculture because it is the mainstay of the economy of the village. So, nearly 75% of the population or 75% of the people in the village of Palumbo derive their livelihood from agriculture. So agriculture is the chief occupation for the people of the village Palumbo. So here 75% of the population mainly depend upon agriculture, and that is providing livelihood for all these sections of people in the village of Palumbo. Then the well-being of these people is closely related to production on the farms, because all these people, a vast section of population in this village, mainly depend upon agriculture. That is why agriculture provides all things for these section of community in the village of Palumbo. So the well-being of the people is closely related. The well-being of the people in this village is closely related to production on the farms because it is the only occupation for them. So agriculture is the only occupation for the people of this village. So their well-being is closely related to production on the farms. One of the main problems of the Palumbo village is that the land area under cultivation is fixed. Yes, it is fixed. Practically, the available land in this village is practically fixed. That is the problem. Because it cannot be extended. It is practically fixed. So since 1960 in Palumbo, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. So since 1960, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation in this village. There was no possibility to expand the land because land is practically fixed. So that is why since 1916 in Palumbo, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. But since 1960, by then, the wastelands in the village had been converted to cultivable land. There were some more places. There were uncultivable lands are there. There were some wastelands were there. There were some wastelands, and all these wastelands in the village had been converted to cultivable land. So that thing was done there in the village. So in such a way, they had expanded a little. So all the wastelands in the village had been converted to cultivable land. It's a major achievement on their part. Then the standard unit of measuring land there is hectare. Hectare. Hectare is that is equal to 2.4 acres. It is 1 hectare is equivalent to 2.4 acres, my dear children. So this is the farming in this is about the farming in Palumbo. So here you have learned that land in Palumbo village is practically fixed. Now, will the land sustain? Will the land sustain? It cannot be sustained. Land cannot be expanded. It cannot be reproduced or regenerated. So, will the land sustain? We can say no. It cannot be sustained. So, land being a natural resource, we know very well land is a natural gift, nature's gift. It is a gift from the nature. So, land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be careful in its use. Since land is limited, since it is a gift from the nature, we need to conserve it, and while using it we have to be careful in its use. Since it is a nature's resource or a gift, we need to be careful in its use. Yes, the modern farming methods like multiple cropping, fertilizers, and HYV, high yielding varieties. HYV means high yielding varieties. Seeds, HYV seeds have increased the use of natural resources, and particularly modern farming methods have been introduced there. And what are the modern farming methods? Such as multi-cropping system. What is multi-cropping system? There in the picture on the right side you will see it. Okay, so it is a multi-farming, they followed the multi-cropping system. Yes, they followed the multi-cropping system. What is multi-cropping? To grow, what is multi-cropping? I am telling, to grow more than one crop on a same land, on a same piece of land in a year. So that is called multi-cropping. Multi means many crops. The land is the same, but we grow so many crops in the same land. Okay, and this kind of a cropping system, which is termed as a multi-cropping system, it is a modern method. So the modern farming methods like multi-cropping, fertilizers, and HYV seeds have increased the use of natural resources in the village. Okay, they followed all the modern methods of cropping systems. They are multi-cropping system they followed, and then fertilizer they used widely. The fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, they used chemical fertilizers, and modern seeds. Okay, improved seeds, that is HYV, that means high yielding variety seeds have increased the use of natural resources, and by using all these modern methods they achieved good crop production, okay, in their village. And in many areas the green revolution, okay, the green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility. So green revolution is also another new method. So according to this green revolution, much was achieved, particularly in the crop production in India. So in many areas the green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility. So due to increased use of chemical fertilizers, okay, when we use indiscriminately, okay, you can use fertilizer to get good production, but if we use excessively this chemical fertilizers, that also leads to, or that also creates so many what do we call ill effects, particularly when we use all these over fertilizers, are because of this green revolution and uses of excessive fertilizers, that led to the loss of soil fertility. So soil fertility is lost. So we lose soil fertility when we use excessive fertilizers, chemical fertilizers in the fields. So this happened there in the village of Palumbo also. So the green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers pollute groundwater, rivers, and lakes. Okay, chemical fertilizers pollute groundwater, rivers, and lakes. Today we know very well all our river waters are polluted. The drinking water everywhere is contaminated due to use of chemical fertilizers. So entire water in rivers and canals everywhere, even groundwater is polluted. So chemical fertilizers pollute groundwater, and groundwater is polluted, river water is polluted, including lakes. Everywhere all these water bodies today are polluted due to overuse of chemical fertilizers. So that's why today we are unable to find good drinking water. Everywhere water is polluted. Then soil becomes less fertile due to overuse of these pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Soil becomes less fertile in course of time and degraded by overusing of chemical fertilizers. So overusing of all these chemical fertilizers, what happens? That leads to what we call a loss of fertility. And not only that, land is degraded. Land is degraded. Soil becomes less fertile and degraded. Soil is degraded by overusing of chemical fertilizers, my dear children. Then the consumption of chemical fertilizers in Punjab is the highest in the country. The state of Punjab occupies the first place in using all this modern chemical fertilizers. That was the first state to use the highest fertilizers. So the consumption of chemical fertilizers in Punjab is the highest in the country, my dears. Now, how is the land distributed among the farmers of Palumbo? Already in the previous video, we discussed the number of families and how they are living, where they are living. Those things we learned in the previous video. And now let us discuss how is the land distributed. Let us discuss the distribution of land among the farmers of Palumbo. All the people engaged in agriculture do not have sufficient land for cultivation in Palumbo. There are some people, nearly 60 families, 60 to 150 families there in the village of Palumbo, where they don't have own lands. Most of them belong to Dalits. That's why they don't have their own lands. So they work on the others' lands. So all the people engaged in agriculture do not have sufficient land for cultivation in Palumbo, and some are working in the large farmers as laborers, and small plots scattered around the village are cultivated by the small farmers. There are some small plots which are scattered around the village are cultivated by the small farmers. There are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. There are 60 families of medium and large families who cultivate more than 2 hectares of land. A few of the large farmers have land extended over 10 hectares or more. A few of the large farmers have land extended over 10 hectares. There are some large farmers who have possessed more than 10 hectares of land. And these farmers generally grow jowar and maize during the rainy season, and later they can also grow wheat in the Rabi season. Kharif season they grow jowar, and in Rabi season they grow wheat, and sugar cane also can be grown there. So these are the important activities in the village of Palumbo. Thank you, children. In the next video we shall discuss some more important things.